Poetry. It's short, abstract, and vague. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another episode of A Joyful Life. Great to see you there. Today, like I said, we're going to be talking about poetry. Now, poetry and we don't really get along. I mean, poetry kind of sucks. It's short, it's vague, it's abstract, it's weird. I don't get it. It doesn't really make sense to me at all. And most of you out there right now are probably thinking, Logan, you're crazy. Poetry's so cool. You know, people feel different things. It's great. No. To prove to you the majority of poetry is pointless and lame, I'm going to pull up some very famous poems that I was shown that are just kind of dumb. And if I show any poems that you like, I'm sorry for one of two reasons. I'm sorry that I offended you, and two, I'm sorry you have horrible taste. Alright, who better to start with than the master of poetry himself, William Shakespeare. Can't really mention poetry without mentioning this guy. He wrote so many sonnets and plays and soliloquies, and he's ridiculously famous. Good old Bill. So we're going to look at a poem by him first. That way I can prove to you that even from the beginning, poetry was strange. Very strange. How all occasions do inform against me, and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed, a beast no more? Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craved scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but one part wisdom, and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do. Sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me, witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed. What? The first paragraph, maybe. Maybe. The rest of that, I have no idea what I was saying. Said it with conviction, but I have no idea what he just said. I'm pretty sure this isn't even Shakespearean. This is Victorian. So, okay, this next one is apparently really famous, and this is a poem that was shown to me in my English class, senior year. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater, beside the white chickens. What does it mean? Nothing. The answer is most likely nothing. And yet my teacher told me that this poem, The Red Wheelbarrow, has been analyzed over and over and over again for years. Years! People have been analyzing, what was that, 12 to 20 words max? Literally there was no substance, and yet it's so famous because they think that there's symbolism between the wheelbarrow and communism or something. Listen, okay? It's like modern art. It takes really no effort and sheer dumb luck, and then boom, you're famous for literally doing nothing. Sorry for the rant. All right, one more. Maybe the air is vertebrae, only you walk home bending the muscle of time, A drunk man leaves on the pub's counter the fire of thought, nothing changes. We immiss anguish into a dragon and see it writhe in its halo. Find a way, know or comb a molecule at a time to be handsome. For destiny that now dissolves in your honey, dripping cupped hands, perhaps we hang immense, with city at our roots. What matters to be draped in cloud, when age has a swollen idea buried like a spine on the morning, soft earth. Step on pure grass, who leaves this animal to sow in structure the dream, the struggle, the science of being such near everything. Okay. This is what's weird about poetry. I kind of felt something. But I still have no idea what that meant. I don't know what I was even saying. Very sorry if I offended your favorite poem. So, where did this come from? Let's start back at the beginning of really when poetry did anything to me, and that was actually 10th grade. 10th grade, we were forced to do poetry, which is always the greatest thing ever. Yay! So, I had a poetry unit in my 10th grade English class, and I thought, I'm going to be a great poet. I thought I was going to be the next Shakespeare or William Butler Yeats. So I tried my poetry. I tried to do all the assignments the way they're supposed to be done and throw in my own twist. When I was making them, I thought, these are great. This is going to be good. And then I read them afterwards, and I just thought, wow, this sucks. Like, really, really bad. It was garbage poetry. Now you may think, well, I guess you just are really bad at English. No. English is one of my strongest subjects next to history. I'm a pretty great writer, honestly. I do great on papers. My grammar is always on point. So why poetry? It's just that weird part of English class that I just was not good at. And let me tell you why. My brain is very concrete. It does not like abstract details very much. My brain just thinks logically, clearly. I'm a great storyteller. I create stories in my mind all the time. So I can be creative, but abstract and me just don't get along very well. So whenever I try poetry, I just didn't work because that's just not how my brain, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't think abstractly. It's very straightforward, details, things like that. So 10th grade Logan just thought, poetry's dumb. I hate it. It's pointless. It might make you feel something, but then what? There's really no point. And yeah, I know a lot of things in life are technically pointless and we still enjoy it, but I feel like poetry should be different. And that's always kind of bothered me. Fast forward 2 years, senior year, and just dandy, we get another poetry unit at the end of the school year. Yay! Our poetry unit, my senior year, we had to make a poetry portfolio with 10 poems. They're called 10 Poems to Change Your Life. And I thought, yeah, right. Poems don't do anything. But then, as I was doing some research, I found this genre of poetry. Don't remember what it's called. But the point of it is to teach lessons, to teach a certain lesson, to make a change in people. And I thought, wait, poetry can have a point? Because up to this point in my life, most of the poem examples I had been shown in class were really weird, abstract, and they didn't make me act differently. So I thought they were kind of pointless. But with that mindset of poetry can make people change their behavior, poetry might not be so bad. So guess what? You all just been pranked because I actually like poetry now. All the beginning of this video, I was just kind of explaining my viewpoint before the last few months of my senior year. But because of my poetry unit, my perspective has been completely changed. During this poetry unit, I actually began to enjoy it. But at the beginning, I was still really bad at it. And me being the Logan that I am, still put in my all. Even though I knew I was going to suck at it, I put in my all, and it actually turned out that I am dang decent at poetry. For me, I feel poetry should teach a lesson, make you feel something, and act differently because of what you read and what you feel. Also, what I learned about poetry and why it's so beneficial is because it makes people feel certain emotions because of the language that's used in it, the figurative language like symbolism and assonance, alliteration, hyperboles, and things like that. Those tools, those literary devices, help a person to get into a mood where their mind is more malleable and their heart is open. And if you use poetry to teach a lesson, a person is already halfway there to learning that lesson easier. So, this whole video just to say that from now on, I'm going to be using some of my poetry in future episodes to help teach some lessons. Not every video, just every now and again to help me out. To end this episode, I'm going to read one of my poems, one of the types of poems that I think are the most pointless of all. Blackout poems. If you don't know what a blackout poem is, essentially you take an already made literary thing, either a song, another poem, a paragraph from a movie, and you black out most of the words, and the words remaining should have a sort of message. I thought this was stupid because most blackout poetry I saw basically just had a sentence. It was like, okay, there's a sentence. And so for my blackout poem, I wanted to do things a little differently. That being said, this one doesn't teach a lesson, but I got an A+ on this poem, so gosh dang golly, I'm gonna read it.
Watch your profanity.
Especially because it really doesn't have a place in any other video. This poem I blacked out is called She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. So I used his poem, blacked it all out, as you can see here. Here we go. The night skies meet heaven, the grace which lightens their dwelling place and smiles that glow of peace. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I just bashed on poetry and tricked you all because I actually like it. But I'll see you all in the next episode where we will actually finally be talking about joy. I'm really excited for that one. It's really important. Make sure you watch that. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a fan-freaking-tastic day. Bye-bye.